Hey everybody, this is Joe. Thank you for watching my Giga-Texas construction update video.
Well, back out here at Giga-Texas, this follows the President's Day holiday here in the United States on Monday. And to be honest, it looks like they are kind of slowly getting back to operation here. Now, there are a couple of things that I want to kind of go over in the intro that you'll look for in the video. First, it was very windy, so it made it a little bit more difficult to fly around the site, but I was able to get a pretty good look at what is going on. From the far southwest, where they continue to remove all of the gravel from the old contractor lot, to the northwest by the Tesla Road, where they're taking all that gravel. They're putting it into a new kind of staging area. It looks like they are putting equipment and vehicles into that location. So it looks like that's at least what that purpose for that new site is for now. And we also visit the far southeast side, where we see not only that clearing, but more work that is being done for that River Road extension through that area from the south along the Colorado River up to the north. Now that extends also up next to the east side of the battery cathode plant, where we have seen some earthwork and vegetation removal in the past. But today there is a new development, and that is up on that northeast side of that general area. They are continuing to do earthwork around that small pond, and it looks like they're actually building maybe a bridge across part of that pond with some of the dirt. And you can tell by these images what that looks like. This is, of course, a new development and is part of this overall preparation for the site for major construction. Now, another area that I want to kind of highlight is on the very far north. Of course, we've been seeing them doing the soil sample testing of that area over the last couple of years. They've cleaned out a lot of vegetation, and of course, all of the old materials that were staged up there, now they are finishing cleaning up all of the dirt up there that was mixed in with some of the tree and vegetation debris. So that work is continuing, and that is definitely looking like a future construction site. Now, the other thing I want to point out is, even though there wasn't a lot of production on the time that I was flying, I did notice that they were continuing to do Cybercab testing over by the end of line facility, driving it along the route that they would be using when the vehicles exit the east side of the factory and work their way over to the end of line. They were also doing some more supercharging of the Cybercabs. But perhaps the biggest development that I'm really interested to tell you about is
Tesla announced a major milestone here at Giga-Texas with the production of the very first Cybercab off of the production line. This is a production version, and this is about 6 weeks before their targeted April date. Now, there's a lot of people that have put a lot of work into preparing for this, building out the production lines over the last 6 to 8 months, and of course planning way before that. And just huge congratulations to the entire team. There's still a lot of work yet to be done to bring that production line fully up and begin ramping up in April. But I can't think of a better, just a milestone day for Giga-Texas. And I'm really happy to be able to share that with you and with the people that work here at Giga-Texas.
So without further ado, let's get into the drone, let's fly around and see what Giga-Texas looks like on this windy but beautiful day.
If you would like to support my efforts, please consider using these links, which will be in the video description. If you are interested in Tesla products, you can help yourself and support me by using my referral code. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons on my YouTube video, as this helps as well. Thank you.
My drones are ready and raring to go. Let's go flying over Giga-Texas. Beautiful day on this milestone day to fly here at Giga-Texas. We'll start off on the far east side, looking back at the main factory. First thing I want to show you is the continued earthwork in this section to bring up the grade. And this is the area where we're going to expect to see River Road coming through near the tree line at some point. And they continue to move items and materials and warehouses and workshops away from this location, and that will be continuing. In fact, we're going to start seeing some signs of where things are moving later in the video. But first off, we'll start here looking at the large clearing on this southeast corner, and also where the earthwork is continuing, where the river road will extend through. You can see the silt fences at the bottom left of the screen next to the trees. And as I kind of pan back to the north, you see along the tree line on the right-hand side where the river road will be going, and also preparations for a lot of construction throughout this location. I'm going to continue to pull away here to the southeast and look at the work that's being done. More of the dirt is being brought in by center dump trucks. We also see more corrugated pipes here next to the underground manifold that has been added in recently. You can also see this tree line with some of the vines that have been growing through those trees. And addition to that, there's been some additional work here next to the berm and silt fence on the south side of River Road. You can get a good sense of the 2 lanes with the median that is going to be built in here. And also, as I kind of pan the drone around to the north, you can see how Robotic Avenue comes in from the north to this point, and then there will be an intersection. We can see some more earthwork at the bottom right. And as I get in closer here, the large staging area, I'll zoom in and get a good look at the materials that are being put here. It looks like they are kind of sorting through more of the steel items and pipes at the bottom of the screen, and of course this trench section with the conduit that extends from the left of the screen over to the right to the wind tunnel. You can also see the concrete vaults being installed, and more of these Model Y rear-wheel drive and all-wheel drives being stored at this part of the site. As we pass over the superchargers and look at the secondary main entrance, you can see what all the materials look like here. There is some construction that is going on right by the glass, and I will bring the drone back and give you a different perspective of that a little later in the video. But first, I wanted to kind of scan along the east side of the building. Inside these walls and where that temporary platform is where the Cybercab production area is. For that unbox process. It continues along this side, and then next to those 2 water tanks and that small black doored receiving area, you can see the lines coming out of that. This is where the picture here was made. On the top right, you can see the lines going out, and that would be that door. So that gives you kind of an idea of where they were doing the celebratory image for the Cybercab first production here at Giga-Texas. Now we do see some more crated items next to the stamping section and just to the north of the chiller plant. And then as I look down, this is the staging yard here. We see more of the pipes on the left with those kind of frames around them for being put through the tunnel boring machines, and then other items as well. Now we're going to continue to go towards this part of River Road and that extension that heads off to the east. Show you some of the green pipes that have been arranged here on this part of the site. And as we get closer in to near the chiller plant, you can see where more of the excavation work is underway. Those blue trench boxes on the right, and also some more in the ground. And that shows you that workers are in those areas, and that helps prevent it from collapsing in as they are doing the work. Bring the drone up to a higher altitude, a nice view across the main factory, downtown Austin, the upper left, and the end of line across the highway. You can tell by the flags how windy it is. At altitude, it became significantly more windy, which is the challenge I had with the drone today. But nevertheless, I thought I would come to the south side of Colorado River, show you the work that is being done here next to Falwell Lane. See more of the pipes have been brought in, different varieties. We have the trailer for the construction crew, and more of the work that is proceeding towards the west underneath the power lines and over to where we see this construction going on the west side of the highway. And I will get the drone to this location. We'll cross over the highway. We'll resume the narration on the other side, but I wanted to show you what's going on with this work, also the expansion of the apartments in the upper left. As I bring the drone down to a lower altitude, this gives you this great view of the work with that concrete vault and is being put in here on the left-hand side of the screen. That is definitely making progress. We can also see by the bridge this green section. This is where the caisson is under the ground. Looks like they're doing some landscaping and installing some trees around that area. As we cross back over the Colorado River, great view of the main factory from this southwest side looking to the northeast. More of the grass seed spray on the left where the caisson used to be. And as we look across the highway, we can tell that this caisson is pretty much completely buried, as well as that really tall manifold that the vault that was placed in. You can just see it by the truck on the left-hand side of the screen. There is some concrete being broken up here on the south side of River Road, and they're finishing up packing in the dirt around where the other caisson used to be. So I'll bring the drone around. We'll pan along this berm and the west side of the factory, and I'll zoom back out, and we're going to continue to proceed towards the west, just over River Road, and looking across this section where we see that grass seed mix that has been added in, and that one small manhole cover, which is on top of that gigantic caisson that goes under the ground there. So this part of the site is what continues to be cleared out of materials, equipment, fencing, the contractor parking lot coming into view directly ahead, and some of the earthwork on the right, that section. Now, all of this, as I've mentioned before, is part of a new permit to increase this location's logistics capability by building a new logistics yard. I've had some viewers ask, why are they removing all of the gravel here? It doesn't make any sense. Well, that may be the case unless they are going to be paving this location, which is definitely possible. They may also be doing some trenching and adding in more conduit through this location for lighting. But this, looking back to the factory, gives you a pretty good idea of the size and scope of this location, what they are preparing. And I think we're going to see this really kind of coming into its own, and it may very well be part of the relocation of the East Warehouse on Wheels to clear up that east side. And that should be coming along very quickly. As I mentioned, we're going to see some other signs of movement of equipment and materials to prepare for this massive construction project that is getting ready to get underway. Now, as we pass over some of the silt fences and some of the dirt that's being stored in this one field and one of the remaining old ponds, this is a look at where all of the steel items used to be on the ground. You can see that it's pretty much completely cleared out. The conduit risers are for lighting, and I expect that to be part of the reconfiguration of this area into a logistics yard as this continues to have the construction done. Here's what the materials look like right now. Some more stacked here next to these power lines. And I'm going to zoom in and show you what the other staging yard across the side of the power lines looks like. A lot of the materials directly ahead is part of the 4680 production part of the factory. And with that dry electrode for the cathode and anode, maybe we will see that moving pretty soon. Of course, more materials being assembled here, including superchargers in this kind of rounded top tent. And more of the steel items has been moved over underneath the power lines, again, clearing out that section where I think we're going to see a logistics yard. This is a really great view across this staging yard to the main factory, and just a great look at the materials and the other activity that is going on right now. On the north end, this clearing, not really a lot of work being done at the moment. But this is a great view of how it is coming along. The roadways on the left I expect to extend further to the south through this area that has the lighter colored dirt that we're flying over. As we get closer to the outbound lot and where the employee car vehicle parking is located, We can see that there is some activity with the direct delivery center with vehicles being lined up for that delivery today. In addition to that, we see the south part of the outbound lot with some vehicles and the washout rack doing preparation of vehicles possibly for direct delivery as well. And some people ask, why are there more than just Model Ys or Cybertrucks here? And that's because they use Giga-Texas as a transit yard, and they do direct delivery of other models here on occasion as well. Now, as we come around towards the superchargers, I wanted to give you a look at what the activity appears like here on this day. As I mentioned in the intro, we had the President's Day holiday on Monday, and that coupled with the major milestone with the first Cybercab production, there's not a lot of production going on here today, at least not at the time that I was filming, but that will be coming back online here very soon. Now, while I'm here, I'm going to kind of change views, show you it's one of the drives of a Cybercab. Also, happenstance, a Cybertruck coming out of the Cybertunnel at the same time, and it will kind of chase it down as the Cybercab proceeds along this side of the end of line, goes over the rumble strips, and goes into the sorting lanes for final processing. There's another Cybercab that's getting supercharged right now. I'm going to follow this along here. It's in lane 1. And this is still a engineering version of the Cybercab, so this is not the first production one. You can see by the engineering logos on the doors, but this continues that testing that they are doing to ensure that they have the production processes down for the production of the Cybercabs. So I'll resume back onto this part of the video. I just thought you might want to see that Cybercab drive. And here is a better look at what is going on for that direct delivery that is taking place here. Now, there was a permit for a shade structure to be put in on the north end here. I don't see that work yet, but I will keep watching for that as we get farther into the year. Now, as I pull away on this field, where eventually will be a welcome center, as I've been informed, we can see the steel items being stored with this fenced off section, more of the racks for the castings, and this material staging with the tents. And on this side of the site, you can see some of the workshops at the bottom of the screen, some more of the Vapco cooling units, which are still waiting for their turn to be used somewhere, more of the steel. In addition to that, we see this lot now where all of the gravel is being brought from that southwest corner, and it's being made into what appears to be a rental equipment lot. Now, this is very important because, as we'll see later in the video, the original rental equipment lot on the far north of the site is being dismantled. In fact, this grouping of trailers or containers at the bottom of the screen may very well be a kind of a tent-like structure when they are done, and that will be one of the ones that was up at that rental equipment lot on the northeast. And I will show you that a little later in the video, but that is just another indication that they are moving a lot of things around to prepare for a major construction process getting ready to happen here at Giga-Texas. Now, as I fly along the west side, looking back at the main factory, I thought that you would enjoy these views and also just get a look at the flags and how strong the wind is that my poor little drone is having to work through to get you these video images. But anyway, a beautiful day to look at the factory, and just a remarkable big milestone day for Giga-Texas. As you can tell at the exit point for the Model Y, is not really much going on here. Again, they really are putting a lot of the effort into bringing the employees over for that celebration for the Cybercabs. Now, I've had a viewer ask me to show you this on the ground. You can see that kind of metal covering over the road. That may indicate that the final connections here are not yet completed. So that'll be something that I will continue to monitor and that's part of more of the water system for Giga-Texas that has had a lot of work over the last several years. At the battery cell recycling part of the factory, don't really see a lot in the bins. We do see one of the equipment items on the trailer just get blown off because of the heavy winds. And again, it's just a very windy day. The higher I go, the stronger the winds are. But I thought I would show you briefly the roof here, the section where you see the stripes where they've done roof repairs in the recent past, and the solar panels. I've had viewers ask, when are they going to finish up the rest of the solar panels? That's a good question. I really don't know, but they are in operation, the ones that they have, and it's being used to offset some of the energy needs for the factory. It does not go to the megapacks, it just reduces the energy needs as the sun is shining. Good look at the north lot, and I'll kind of pivot the drone back here to the north part of the factory where we see those two large tanks that were delivered in the last few days. I'll zoom in so you can see what they look like. My previous video, I ran a little bit of information about the company and the type of tanks that they produce. And since this is with the 4680s cell part of the factory, I think this is a good sign that they are moving along with that dry electrode process. Some crates being unpacked here at the north part of the paint next to with all of the rack mounts and also the paint stands. And as we get to the northeast corner, partly because of the winds, partly because of the sun angle, I thought I would just bring the drone up here, zoom in and show you some of the castings. A lot of the ones on the left, especially by that silver wrapped kind of rectangular items, are part of the Cybercab. We see a lot of aluminum alloy wheels that have been delivered for melting down. More of the Cybercab castings on the ground and some in the racks. And as we pan more, we can see a mix of Model Y and Cybercab castings. And with that announcement of production for Cybercabs, we should start seeing a lot of the Cybercab castings as production line starts really ramping up. Here's a close-in view of some more castings and materials that have been delivered recently. You'll note that there's water on a lot of these items, and you'll also see that in some overflow around the site. It's because there was a pretty large rainstorm that came through the Austin area very recently. Here's a good view of that material, some of the Model Y castings in the racks, some of the wooden crates, and some other red painted items along with those black kind of pedestals that are used for robotic assemblers. Now, I mentioned earlier in the video that I would show you a closer in view of that east main entrance with some of the construction that is going on. Here you go. As you can tell, they have kind of construction fences. They've removed, it looks like, some of the glass, and they're doing an excavation near the kind of the angled part of the glass. Now, there was a construction entrance that ran along the wall here. That seems to have been removed for this work to continue. And of course, more of the materials getting ready to be brought inside the factory. So as I kind of maneuver around, show you a look down along the east side, I will zoom back out and we'll kind of maneuver here on this side of the site, and we'll proceed back over to the east where I want to show you some more development that is underway. As we've moved over the east warehouse on wheels and then the various materials and workshops on this part of the site, wanted to kind of talk a little bit about what is going on here. As you can see with that clearing at the bottom of the screen as they do the level of the grade all along this side, and this large mound of debris is being prepared for a major construction project along this side of the factory. Of course, to do the construction, a lot of things need to be relocated, and that is underway. One is with the removal of this hill and all of the concrete debris. Another is the removal of this structure and the companion structure at the bottom of the screen. This was a maintenance facility for the concrete trucks, and it has been prepared for elimination, and that should be happening soon. Nearby, you can see the excavation work underway to remove this large hill. This hill, by the way, is one of the last remaining original features on the site. I remember this when I first started flying here, and I used to think that this was so far away that I wasn't sure if they would do any construction over here. As we can tell with the amount of construction all over the site, that was kind of silly of my part when I began about 5.5 years ago. So much has changed in that time. Speaking of which, along this east side of the cathode plant, you can tell where they've been removing vegetation, doing some other light earthwork in this section to prepare probably for River Road to extend through here. Now you'll note that some of the dirt looks more kind of fresh and has been disturbed more recently, and that is because it is in fact what is going on. As we continue to get further to the north, you'll see that they are building in almost either a dam or a crossover road or something here, and it's kind of breaking this pond into two parts. You see a lot more of that work on the left, and the hills that you see with the valleys are part of the old sand and gravel mining through this location. So if this is going to be reclaimed for use, perhaps for River Road, or perhaps for construction, or a little bit of both, there is a lot of fill that's going to happen here. In fact, this reminds me a lot of the original site where the main factory was built, and the amount of work that took them about 6 to 8 months to prepare that for construction. Here's a good view of the Lippmann concrete crushing operation underway. We now have 3 large piles of that crushed up concrete being made, and they're continuing to gather up a lot of the materials that have been stored here for this crushing operation. And this, along with that hill that we were seeing by the old concrete maintenance facility, I think is all part of the cleanup for this entire part of the site. You see more of the concrete at the bottom of the screen amongst some of the steel corrugated piping that will be removed as well. So it's a very large project that is underway. It does appear to me like maybe some more transformers have been delivered. You can see what these look like here, or at least moved around. Some of the gray electronic cabinet boxes that were here have been moved away. Now, when I get to the crash testing facility, I noticed a very interesting development here. You can tell that 5 Cybercabs, some with signs, and all of which have like a towing hitch on the front bumper, have been moved here. Now, these are all the engineering versions of the Cybercab. These are the ones that have the steering wheel and the pedals. You can also notice the mismatched wheels. These are the ones that have been testing around the site and in some of the areas around Austin recently. The fact that they've moved them here along with all of these Cybercabs that have had crash testing makes me think that with the start of production and the transition from engineering variants through the release candidates to now production variants, that we may be seeing a transition away from those engineering versions. And that'll be interesting for me to watch and see if I can tell that robotaxis driving around do not have steering wheels, and that'll be another indication of the production. Here's a good view of this slab for the dummy test lab on the south side of the crash test facility, and also a great view of this east side of the battery cathode plant. So now it's time to see what is going on with Cortex 2. There's always a lot of activity. We'll start on the south side. We can see that there's more excavation work underway. Some concrete vaults have been added in. See this large pipe, the black pipe extending from the building over to now 10 of these, or 12 of these temporary cooling units. You can see the pipe kind of wrapping around over to that asphalt section on the right, so we may see even more of that. In addition to that, they are adding more of the fiber reinforced beams on to the 5th and 6th fan unit, and more of the slats along the side of the building. I also noticed that there are 14, I originally said 16 megapacks. I had a viewer that wanted me to make that correction, so there you go. There are only 14 on this side, not 16, but maybe there'll be more. We'll keep watching for that. This large dirt section now has had asphalt to put on, so that will help with dirt mitigation. And of course, most of the concrete has been poured on part 2 of the cooling plant. You can see they are now doing the 6 divided walls on this slab, and those will be where 6 more of those fan enclosures and fan units on the roof are added in. We see some dirt being spread here on the northeast corner. Now, underneath this area is where they put a lot of piers, CFA piers. So why they're doing this right now, I don't know, but it'll be something that we monitor to see what they end up doing. A lot of equipment on the north side, plus some more asphalt now has been added along the wall of the building. And as we go around the corner, we'll see what this entire west side looks like, where the asphalt has been laid down. Also, where the stripes are on the closer to the center, where more megapacks will be, and of course trench work for conduits, where we're going to see some more of those screw type piers, the panels or the platforms, and then more of the transformers and electrical boxes, much like this, are going to be added in. Here's a good view of all of the megapacks. They're putting in some of those steel beams between each of the megapacks, and that work looks like it's coming along very quickly. And we're back here on the south end of the building, looking across everything for a really good view of what this looks like. So I'm going to kind of pan along this west side, show you what's going on near the megapacks, particularly here in this staging yard. We see more materials, more of the fan enclosures for the continued build out of the chiller plant, and what I think is more of those fiber reinforced polymer beams that are used for those enclosures. Some more deliveries here next to this blue and white crane. You can see some at the bottom, and those white wrapped boxes next to those containers. We see more of the parking for the contractors. This is what they're doing, is they're parking all around the site now instead of using that old contractor lot, which is being dismantled. Here's a great view of the current situation with the electrical switch yard. They still have not brought the third transformer, although the blast wall between the first and second one looks like it's making progress. Here we see footings being made for more of the steel and the A-frames along this part of the site, plus some more excavations for rebar cages so that they can mount more equipment. So that's a really good view of what is going on at this part of the site and much around the building. Before we end, I do want to proceed farther up to the north. I'm kind of panning around so you can get a good sense of where everything is located. And we're going to go up and take a look at this very large rectangular field that you see at the top of the screen and what is going on here. You see the road, the kind of the dirt road heading up towards this. And you can see the other field with the lone tree where the rental equipment lot is, and we're going to talk about that in a moment. But in this entire area, it looks like they are preparing for a massive construction project. Now, they have done soil test sample drilling throughout this entire area over the last few years. That's usually used for the civil engineers as they are deciding what kind of structures are needed for the land to support the whatever the building is going to be. Now they are doing all the clearing. They're separating the dirt and the debris from the trees and shrubberies or vegetation, and also all of the materials and everything that has been stored here has all been removed. Now, most of the work is here on this kind of southwest corner. That's because this area has had a lot of tree debris, some of which predated Giga-Texas. Some of it was part of Giga-Texas' construction. This was all throughout this location, and as you can tell, it's taking a lot of effort to clear that all out to prepare for construction. It is not a good building material to have dirt with tree limbs and parts of trees and vegetation all mixed in with the material on the ground. So that is why they're putting through this effort. And you can see that underway now, where the dirt's being piled in one large pile off of the conveyor, and you can see more of the tree wood being separated as well and brought away. Now I look way up to the north along this field, and this gives you a great sense of the area that they are working on and the rest of the area that probably could be used for construction with very little additional work. Now this big depression with the vertical hills and valleys will probably need to be filled in, especially if they can go over to this side and combine them together. Now I want to show you this. On the 23rd of January, there was 3 tent-like structures. Now there's only one. And on the 10th of February, you can see one of them being removed. And you can definitely tell that all of these parts are being removed, and it looks like it's being relocated to that northwest corner by Tesla Road that we saw earlier. If that's the case, then that means that they are clearing all of this out in preparation for future construction. That, along with the Lippman concrete crushing operation that is underway to clear out all of this location, really gives us a sense that we're going to be seeing a major construction project here sometime later this year. Now, as I pull away, this gives you a really good overall view of all of those areas that we just talked about. You can see that dirt kind of road being built over that pond where the crushing of the concrete is underway, the 2 large fields, that rental equipment lot, and all the work that's being done. And as I turn back to the main factory, this gives you a really good sense and context of where that is located in relation to this east side and the main factory. So as always, I hope that you found this helpful and informative. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a great week.